According to experts, what you see first can reveal a lot about your personality. Today's fun personality test. Take a look at this picture and tell me what you see first. Write it in the comments, lock it in, and then I'm going to tell you what experts say about you. According to experts, if you first saw the zebra, you're an extrovert.
Part 289. After starring in The Never-Ending Story, young actor Jonathan Brandis became badly depressed as his career began to stall. He began drinking heavily in 2002 after his role was significantly reduced in a film he was banking on to revive his career. The Australian man survived a raging wildfire by scuba diving in his neighbor's pool. He stayed underwater for 5 minutes as the fire destroyed everything around him, but the man emerged completely unscathed. In 1978, mental patient Margaret Schilling suddenly vanished during a game of hide-and-seek at the Athens Lunatic Asylum in Ohio. Despite extensive efforts, Margaret remained missing for more than a year until her lifeless body was finally discovered. She somehow found her way into an abandoned ward, took her clothes off, and before eventually dying. Her body left a stubborn stain that's still there to this day, despite repeated attempts to remove it.
This is what the future of Earth looks like. In 23,000 years from now, Niagara Falls will dry up and disappear from erosion. In 75,000 years, a new Hawaiian island will surface. In 500,000 years, the Earth will face an impact from an asteroid with a diameter of around 1 kilometer. In 50 million years, Mars will gain a ring while Saturn loses its rings. In 180 million years, the moon will slow down Earth's rotation so much that days are now 25 hours long. In 800 million years, the sun will be so bright that all plants and animals on Earth will die. In 5 billion years, the Milky Way galaxy will collide with the Andromeda galaxy, forming a massive Milkdromeda galaxy. After 7 billion years, the sun will grow into a red giant, swallowing both the Earth and the moon in the process. In 100 trillion years, the birth of new stars will end as galaxies are depleted of gas clouds. In 1 nonillion years, the universe is dark, and all that's left are massive black holes. Eventually, after a Google nonillion quadrillion years, the cycle may reset with another Big Bang.
Creepy last words people said.
That's
right
an insane
before
amount of
dying.
information.
Rachel said that she had been caring for a female patient who was dying of stage 4 lung cancer for weeks. She was frail, her voice barely more than a whisper, but sharp as ever. One night, during her rounds, Rachel said that the patient stopped her with the question, "Did you see him?" she asked. "See who?" asked Rachel. "The man in the suit. He comes when the lights are low, stands by the window. He's handsome, but his eyes." She shuddered. "He keeps asking me if I want to make a deal," she said. "He says he can take it all away. The pain, the sickness. I tell him no every night. Every night I tell him no," she said. Rachel said that she thought it was the morphine talking, until her last night she gripped Rachel's hand and whispered, "He's angry tonight. I told him no again." Her breathing grew heavier. "He said it was my last chance." Rachel squeezed the patient's hand and told her to rest, but as she turned to leave, a chill ran down her spine. The room felt different, heavy even. An hour later, the patient had passed away. Rachel said that she whispered a quiet goodbye and glanced out the window. For a split second, she said that she swears she saw something, a figure in a black suit, watching, and then just as quickly, he was gone.
I'm so embarrassed to live in Canada because why is this man who violently raped 2 women out on bail? This isn't even the first time that something like this has happened. Canada is known for this shit. There is literally little to no consequences for these kind of crimes or just any crime in general. So if you live in Ontario, specifically the Hamilton area, you want to avoid this disgusting man at all costs. He is very dangerous and he's out on bail. This is 22-year-old Lakesh Cheriou, and on July 13th, he attacked a woman who was walking on a trail and dragged her into a wooded area and raped her. He tied her wrists behind her back and he eventually stopped when someone was approaching the trail, so he fled the scene, and this is the footage and photos that they got. But it doesn't even end there, because on August 7th, he entered a 74-year-old woman's home while she was sleeping and he raped her for over an hour. Police were able to connect both of the attacks to him and he was arrested, but he was just released on bail. And then right after he was let out, the police come out with a statement that says, "Hamilton police warning the public after sexual assault suspect released." So my thing is, instead of trying to warn us of someone who is extremely dangerous, why not just keep him behind bars? makes sense.
There's nothing but facts what you're speaking. You know what this is.
Most unusual places in the world. Located in Quebec, Canada, this forest has a pretty creepy atmosphere. It might be because the ground looks like it's moving, making it seem like Mother Earth is taking a deep breath. This next one is actually terrifying. Located in Penang, Malaysia, this huge water tornado was getting extremely close to this apartment building. Fortunately, it stopped right in front of the building because it ran out of water. And how about this one? It used to be a hiking area before it got flooded, so everything you see here used to be above water. Imagine being a fish and seeing this appear out of nowhere.
You'd be so confused, like, what the hell's going on?
Shortly after that video was posted on TikTok, the 14-year-old girl who took the video, named Scarlett Vickers, would be murdered by her own father. Scarlett was your average girl living in the United Kingdom. But sadly, on July 5th, 2024, she would end up dead. Now, initially, Scarlett's 50-year-old father, Simon, claimed that he and his daughter had been having a play fight in the kitchen. They were throwing objects at each other, he said, and he accidentally grabbed a knife and threw it at his daughter, and that's how she died. It was a big accident. But authorities called bullshit. You see, Scarlett had been inflicted with a 4-inch deep stab wound. A stab wound that had punctured her body at a 90-degree angle. There was a lot of contention in the courtroom as Simon tried to defend himself and acted like he was not complicit in his own daughter's murder. But on January 27th, 2025, he was found guilty of killing his own daughter, and he will now be sentenced on February 10th. It's still unclear, though, exactly what happened that evening. Sadly, through all the investigating that authorities did, they couldn't tell exactly what had happened that had caused this situation. Was there a fight? Was there a big argument? Why did Simon stab Scarlett? Those are the details that are still unknown, and since Simon, throughout the trial, refused to share the whole truth with the court, sadly, the reality of the situation was probably taken to the grave with Scarlett. If you want to hear more true crime stories, listen to the podcast that I co-host with my wife, Courtney, Murder in America. It's available on all streaming platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Oh, I never know the truth, man. But play fighting with your daughter, that's stories already sound like BS.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. One of your photos that you have today will be used in your funeral. There are more slaves today than any other time in history. According to the founder of the Walk Free Foundation, there are 46 million slaves in the world today. Your
Crazy.
eyes can still move after your death for 15 to 30 seconds. Watching TV for more than 2 hours a day can shorten your life expectancy by 1.4 years. In 1977, we received a radio signal from space that lasted 42 seconds. To this day, no one knows where that signal came from. A lit candle causes more than 15,000 house fires every year. Spider rain could happen at any moment above you. Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise in the 2017 version of It, was born in 1990, the year the original It was released. Yeah.
So he was born to play Pennywise.
Fun facts you wouldn't believe are true. A horse jockey once died halfway through a race and won. Neil Armstrong almost had to sue his barber for selling his hair. Professional cheesemakers are now studying whether music can change the taste of cheese. There was once a 10-year-old gymnast who finished 3rd in the Olympics. There's a Starbucks cup in every single scene in the movie Fight Club.
Hold up, who's that 10-year-old gymnast, man, that competed in the Olympics? Must be the youngest Olympian ever. You're gonna have to look that up, man. Confirm if that's true or not. What medal did the 10-year-old win? Gold, silver, bronze?
Less than 1 second. Venus. 1 second.
Oh, you gone.
Saturn. 2 seconds. Mars. less than 1 second. Uranus, less than 1 second. Pluto, less than 3 seconds.
Oh.
Earth, 80 to 90 years.
Experts are saying this is how the
Interesting.
world will look by 2050. Trust me, you're going to want to favorite this video so we can come back and see if these predictions were right. These are the most popular theories. People will be able to live on after death through AI. It would be like a digital twin clone of you that will continue to live on for the rest of, well, existence in the AI world. Or, a bit more personal, we might actually be able to upload our brains to computers to live on. In fact, a Google engineer has said this merge with machines will happen by 2025. That's next year! We will have found intelligent aliens. However, whether this is a good or a bad thing is still left unknown. And finally, uninhabitable portions of the Earth. Due to climate change, humidity and heat will make it almost impossible for humans to survive outdoors in these areas. Do you think any of this will happen by 2050? Let me know in the comments. You ain't lying!
I think the AI one is most likely, man, because the way they pushing AI, especially, man, it's getting to everything. Gaming, pictures, the internet, you name it. So, you know they probably
Not
working
so
on
fun
that.
facts to completely ruin your day. Criminals who are considered unattractive usually receive a 50% longer jail time sentence than everybody else. So, if you ever get caught committing a crime, you better hope that judge thinks you're cute. If the apocalypse was to ever actually happen, anybody who takes medication daily is just completely fucked. So occasionally the sun lets out these super massive bursts of plasma energy that could wipe out satellites, the power grid, and the internet for decades. And the only way to stop it is to see it ahead of time and then turn off everybody's power for a few days. On a brighter note, if this does happen, you'd be able to see the northern lights from anywhere.
Wow, I didn't know that.
This is why you can't
Wow.
always believe what you see. We are officially bringing back the This Is Why Scary Stories, and this one is an old creepypasta about a boy named Jimmy and his unusual parents. So Jimmy was just a normal boy living a normal life until one day everything went wrong. One night he had a terrible nightmare, so he ran into his parents' room and screamed that there was a monster under his bed. His parents, of course, reassured him that there's no monsters anywhere in their house until they heard it too. There were loud thumping noises coming from Jimmy's room and then just silence. So his mom went to check on her husband, leaving Jimmy alone. And that's when Jimmy heard the same noise again, this time even louder. After his parents didn't come back for a while, Jimmy decided to find out what was going on. So he tiptoed his way back into the room and saw his mother cleaning the floor and his father just leaning over the bed. His mother then turned around and said, "Oh, sorry, your father slipped on a toy and tore your bed. He's sewing it back up and I'm just cleaning the mess." So after that, Jimmy didn't really think anything was wrong, but his parents started acting really weird. And that night, Jimmy felt like his bed, which his dad had just fixed, was lumpy and uncomfortable. Maybe he had sewn it incorrectly, Jimmy thought before he fell asleep. But soon things got worse. Jimmy's room began smelling really bad at night and he even had to sleep on the floor. Until one day he just couldn't stand it anymore and cut open the line of stitching that his father had sewn. And that's when he finally discovered the truth. As he opened the bed, he saw that surrounded by the stuffing were the decaying but recognizable bodies of his parents. He screamed at the sight of their rotting skin. And that's when he heard a knock at his door. "Jimmy, are you okay?" came his mother's voice, then his father's. "See, I told you, there are no monsters under your bed. Follow for more."
She
A
drew that
really
at the same
strange
time.
story was the picture that came out of the Varana cruise liner, large ship that went down at the Atlantic Ocean in 2014, and nobody really knew why at the time. There were very few survivors of this, and the news kind of mulled over this for months. They were doing deep dives onto the ship to look for very sinister evidence and relics. Of those who did survive, they all kind of shared this very strange story because they claimed they saw something kind of unexplainable in the water. For a while, it just kind of continued as that. It was just a story. These things kept going on. People kept diving down there, trying to collect relics, evidence, anything they could from the ship, and they found this. The phone of one of the passengers who died, and even though it was waterlogged for a long time, it was still semi-functional. On the phone, this was a photo that was apparently found, leaked from an evidence bank in 2017, and it's hard to refute what this picture is. An unexplained shot of just someone standing in the water, eerily enough taken on the same day the ship sank.
Looks like a mermaid, or it could be a siren or something.
Morbid facts about World War I that will give you nightmares. During the First World War, Canadians were obsessed about killing Germans, and many of them went against the truce laws by pretending to show mercy to those who surrendered, only to change their mind later on and shoot them unknowingly. During the war, sometimes soldiers would throw cans of food over trenches, so the starving soldiers would rush to grab the canned food, but little did they know that grenades were waiting for them as well. In the northeastern part of France, there are still some areas that are off limits to the public, because they are still full of unexploded chemicals such as mustard gas and many others.
Damn. The Canadians supposed to be nice.
Really weird human body facts that I can guarantee you didn't know. Cortisol is a stress hormone that is only released through sweat and tears. So if you're like really stressed out, working out and crying can actually make you feel better. But if you're not doing either of those things, that hormone will actually get turned into fat cells. It's extremely common for people to have the urge to poop just before having a heart attack. When you die, one of the last senses to go is actually your hearing. So just imagine, right after you pass, your entire family is just talking shit about you. I'm talking.
Was that her sister in the back?
I don't know if I can visit Mexico.
Why?
Bro, they have the scariest urban legends.
For real?
Yeah, they got La Chuza, which is a shape-shifting witch that looks like an owl and is 7 feet tall with the face of a woman. And you're not supposed to go outside if you hear whistling in your window.
What else?
Oh, and La Llorona. She usually stays near bodies of water. She wears a white gown, long hair, and she's always crying for her children that she actually drowned. So you're next if you see her while driving on the side of the road.
Oh my god.
There's like this abandoned Disney park in Veracruz, Mexico.
What about it?
It has a statue that moves at night. There was 2 people exploring the abandoned park and caught it on video. Fam, you gotta check this out.
No, aguanta, deja que mi cámara enfoque bien, deja que mi cámara enfoque bien. Deja que mi cámara enfoque bien, güey, eso no es el celular. No digas perras mamadas, no digas mamadas. Güey, es que era el vestido también así, güey. Amarillo.
And it's static, frozen. I'm good on Mexico.
But they do have beautiful women.
You're right, we might have to risk it.
That dog was locked in, bro. He got the perfect podcast partner, man. That dog was locked in on that video.
Terrifying games you don't want to play, part 24. The Travel Man game. If you play this game correctly, the rewards could be great. But if you're greedy, you just might lose everything. To play this game, you will need to summon the mysterious Travel Man. To do this, you will need a candle or lantern and an empty household. You'll need to wait until night falls, light the candle, and go to your own front door. Next, you'll need to knock on the door 3 times while saying the words, Travel Man, come make me a deal. Finally, you'll need to repeat these steps every night for the next 7 nights. If you follow these instructions carefully, on the 7th night you may be greeted by a well-dressed entity carrying a briefcase. This is the Travel Man. He will immediately open his briefcase and offer you an item of little value, such as an apple or a small sum of money. You can accept this item, ending the game and banishing the Travel Man, or you can decline. If you decline, he will offer you an item that is slightly more valuable, and this process will continue until you accept his deal. However, be warned, with every item you decline, there is a chance he will accuse you of being too greedy and demand something from you instead. Your soul or your life. Comment whether or not you would play this game and follow for more.
No! Don't play those type of games.
People
Never.
are freaking out after finding out what this actually means. So some of you have probably had this before. If you don't know what this is, it's like a twitch in your eye. Sometimes you'll just be relaxing, going about your day, or normally in the morning when you first wake up, and your eye, either above there or under there, will just start randomly twitching, and whatever you do, it won't go away. Now this is actually known as mychemia, which is involuntary spasms of these bits in the eye. Now this is actually surprisingly pretty common. A lot of people get this, especially when they first wake up in the morning. Now, normal eye strain can be a bit worse and lead to all of these different symptoms, and normal eye strain itself can cause this over time. Now, the reason you get the twitching eye is down to these things right here, most commonly having a lot of caffeine or not getting enough sleep, but also other things impact it like stress, or if you're in a job you don't really enjoy, because essentially all it is your muscles getting tense, which causes it to spasm. And if you're constantly looking at a computer or something, that's probably going to get tense. And if you have too much caffeine or aren't getting enough sleep, it will stimulate this, and that's why you literally cannot get it to stop.
Don't touch this.
Interesting.
So people are freaking out just finding out why they should never ever get a receipt. So most receipts use thermal paper which contain many chemicals that are really not good for you. BPA to be specific, which is easily absorbed into your bloodstream when you touch it, which is mad to even say. Now of course these chemicals that are being absorbed when you touch a receipt are not very good for you. They're very toxic and harmful. Some so bad they can actually disrupt hormones, so bad it can actually cause infertility and even increase your risk of cancers. Yeah. Now, if you live in the UK or Europe, receipts don't contain as many chemicals, which is weird, but somehow they don't. But if you live in the US, you've got the bad bit here because they are very bad. Although even here in the UK, they're still not going to be good for you. Containing more toxics than if you were to touch or lick a toilet seat. Now, I hope you wouldn't be scanning your receipts, but still by touching them, as I say, it can absorb into your bloodstream, which isn't good. So many people now are just opting for email receipts and not touching these receipts because they're bad. Now, of course, you're not all going to get ill, just touching it every now and again isn't that bad. But if you're constantly touching these things every single day, it's not good for you.
He slashed.
Man, that put me on, bro. Every single time I get a receipt, man, I've been getting, the text box, but now I'm probably about to do that for everything, man. Limit touching these receipts. They can change your hormones and stuff too, man. These clips, we learning every single day.
Throats, ripped out entrails, and wielded a knife with surgical precision. His name is Jack the Ripper. He murdered at least 5 women, mostly prostitutes, in or near London's Whitechapel district from August 7th to November 10th, 1888. His victims were Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. The throat of each victim was cut, and usually the body was mutilated in a manner indicating the murderer had considerable knowledge of human anatomy. But the nature of these murders strongly suggested a single perpetrator. Authorities received a series of taunting notes and letters from a person calling himself Jack the Ripper. Anti-Semitic slurs were found scrawled on a wall in chalk, suggesting it was written by the killer. It was a mystery that endured for more than 130 years. Until recently. Aaron Kosminski is thought to be the terror behind Jack the Ripper. He was a Polish barber who, according to confidential police reports, had a great hatred of women and strong homicidal tendencies. But there wasn't hard evidence. In 1890, Kosminski had a suspected schizophrenic breakdown and threatened his sister with a knife. He was committed to Colney Hatch Lunatic Asylum, where he later died 28 years later. Author and Ripper researcher Russell Edwards has uncovered photos showing Kosminski's brother Isaac dressed as a member of the Lodge of Israel Freemasons, which may explain why Kosminski escaped justice. Edwards bought victim Catherine Eddowes' bloodstained shawl at auction. It was later found to have the DNA of both the victim and Kosminski. Edwards has hired a legal team to fight for an inquest on the grounds that there are further evidence for a coroner to consider about the circumstances of the death and, crucially, who was responsible. Karen Miller, who is the 3 times great-granddaughter of Miss Eddowes, and other family members of the victims are backing Edwards and the legal application for a new inquest in the death of Eddowes. Will the truth
found in the middle of nowhere? Back in 2014, 2 German friends were walking through a forest that they used to play in as kids, when suddenly they noticed 2 pipes sticking out of the ground. They continued to walk until they stumbled upon a hidden doorway that went underground. They entered the creepy corridors until they stumbled into a room that was flooded and had a weird-looking machine. That's when they realized they were in an abandoned control bunker that was used by the Soviets during the Cold War. Next, in 2016, a group was flying in a helicopter over the forests of West Russia, and they spotted another helicopter that was abandoned in a swamp. This turned out to be an Mi-6 model that originated in 1956, and it was the largest and fastest helicopter at the time. It was revealed that the helicopter had been there since 1981, when it traveled from Moscow and it crashed because of engine failure. But thankfully, the crew of it did live to tell the tale. And finally, on Route 90 in Texas, you can find a Prada store that's surrounded by nothing but desert. This was actually art that was made back in 2005 and cost $120,000 to make. Inside the store, there's even real products from their 2005 Prada collection. But unfortunately, the doors aren't real, so you can't actually buy them.
The craziest jobs in the whole world. Up first, we have a professional napper. Yes, there's people out there who get paid to sleep as a profession. It's
Sign me
typically
up.
done for scientific research to study sleep patterns or for mattress testing. And they can earn up to $105,000 a year with full benefits and so much more. I don't know about you, but I would love to get paid to sleep.
Comment down below, man, if you can apply to be a sleep tester, bro. That's insane. That much money for just freaking testing beds and stuttering sleep patterns? Sign me up, bro. Oh, man. One of the weirdest jobs ever.
One of the most haunted dolls on the planet. So continuing the story from my last TikTok, the family actually locked Robert in the attic of the house because they were so afraid of him because he was moving and doing creepy shit. Didn't stop him. Apparently in the attic he would move stuff around, bang on walls, and frighten the family. And kids walking by the neighborhood passing this house, this is their house, would see Robert sitting right up here in the window staring at them. People think that Robert was haunted because the person that gave it to Jean, this guy right here, put some black magic or voodoo curse on the doll. When Jean died, a new family moved into the house and a daughter in the family was delighted to find Robert in the attic, but she claimed that Robert attacked her. And eventually, because Robert was too scary to keep in the home, he was donated to a museum. You're not supposed to take photos of Robert, and people have supposedly taken photos of him and been cursed. And people who work at the museum have supposedly seen Robert moving around in his case and even tapping on the windows and finding scratches inside of the case. What do you think? Would you visit Robert? I want to go and take a picture and see what happens, but he seems pretty chill.
Not me. I don't need none of that dark energy around me. I got it. I will not be seeing Robert. No.
This is the Devil's Castle, and it's one of the scariest places on Earth. It's located in a small town in Mexico. Its actual name is Castillo del Diablo, and it was built by a painting contractor named Tony Wells. He spent almost $4 million on the castle, and it's become a worldwide attraction. In the castle, you can find coffins, creepy mannequins, and gargoyles. Wells has a collection of over 800 swords and knives, and about 350 beautiful antique mirrors. Often, Satan worshippers leave him presents, even though Tony does not believe in Satan. Would you dare spend a night in this place?
No. The name alone throws me off.
Countries with the most natural resources. Russia, India, Canada, Saudi Arabia, China.
Wow, I thought the US would be on that list.
Tried to sell their baby for a 6-pack of beer, but this case is even more dark and disturbing than it sounds. Darian Urban, aged 21, and Shailene Ellers, aged 20, live in Arkansas and recently became parents to a baby boy. However, far from the birth changing their life in a positive way, they reportedly struggle to cope with looking after the baby as well as 3 dogs. On the 21st of September this year, police in Benton County got a disturbing phone call. The caller reported witnessing the couple trying to swap their baby for a 6-pack of beer and some money. They were allegedly witnessed doing this at a campground and even creating a contract. Officers arrived and seized a note that stated, "I, Darian Urban and Shailene Ellers, are signing our rights over to blank of our baby boy blank for $1,000 on the 21st of the 9th, 2024. It then stated, "Disclaimer, after signing this there will be no changing y'all two's minds and to never contact again." Now, it's really disturbing if you read between the lines here. A woman reportedly heard a man agreeing with the mother of the baby to pay the couple so he could have the baby overnight. The man was reportedly extremely drunk. Now, I don't know what he wanted to do with this baby overnight. The child apparently appeared dirty and unchanged and seemed to be covered in a rash and blisters. Now, the couple were arrested and charged with endangering the welfare of a minor and effectively trying to sell their child. The child was removed from the parents and taken to a local hospital to be checked over. He's now being cared for by the Department of Human Services.
This is why you should
Sad
always
story.
lock your doors. A junior in high school was home alone working on a paper while his parents were out to dinner. All night he sits with his back to his door, sitting at his desk with his noise-canceling headphones on. Around 11 o'clock, he takes his headphones off at the same time his parents are returning to the house, and he hears his mom from downstairs yell, "Hey Adrian, what happened?" Confused, he runs downstairs and sees right away what she's looking at. Muddy footprints all over the rug. He tells her, "I didn't leave my desk." And then they realize someone must have broken in. They look at the footprints and there's none leaving the house. They're worried someone's still in the house. They run into the garage, terrified, call the police. Police arrive and they don't find anyone in the house, but they do make a chilling discovery upstairs. The police bring them to the kid's bedroom door, which had been left open all night, and they point to the message written on it in Sharpie. This is the actual transcript of what was written on his door, which means for nearly 2 hours, someone stood in this kid's doorway watching him.
Always gotta be where your surroundings, man. You never know what's gonna happen.
Things that bother you, they never bother me. I haven't got a lot, I don't need a lot. Coffee's only a dime.
Man, those two creatures. The first one, but only has a lifespan of 5 to 7 days after they became adults. Has to be one of the shorter lifespans I've heard, I guess, for an insect. It might be even shorter ones, man, but just imagine you become adult 5 to 7 days, it's over. You got 7 days to live it up. We learning. Edit.
There's a lost episode of Barney that's actually so terrifying. Although it's wiped from existence and no one can find a copy of it or any proof that it actually happened, people claim that they saw this episode. Like thousands of people. Second the episode started, people knew there was something wrong with it. It was like the theme song was being whispered instead of being sung full out. As every episode starts, the kids were holding the Barney doll, and then it became a real-life dinosaur.
Yeah.
The second the characters started to talk, it sounded weird, almost like two people were talking at once. It was like his normal voice, and then one that sounded darker and scarier. He said, "Hi kids, today I'm going to talk to you about death." And then one of the kids asked him, like, "Barney, what is death?" And this is the most disturbing part. He started laughing and he said, This is the only screenshot or like picture of the screen that's been recorded of this episode. His eyes glow, his teeth get bigger and more human-like, the screen darkens, and he eats the child. Whether the TV got hacked that day, I don't know. Throughout the rest of the episode, he runs around chasing the kids, hunting them, and eating them. And as the episode came to a close, he sang the theme song that was like, "I love you, you love me," that song, as if nothing had just happened. Do you remember this episode? Let me know and interact for more content. It really helps.
I do
The
not.
Annabelle doll out of her case again. Yeah, you know, this doll, one of the most haunted dolls in reported history. I think many stories of people seeing her or even touching her when they're not supposed to and having tragic things happen to them. I mean, the last person that touched her was driving their car and ended up wrecking their whole entire car and almost losing their life, and claimed to have seen Annabelle in their back seat, after, of course, leaving the museum. $1 million question for me is, how is this wooden box holding her in? I completely understand that the boxes are blessed, but if Annabelle is as strong as people say she was, how is this box holding her? And what is the whole point of moving the doll? Now my question is, could these Annabelle movies be lying about how actually strong she is? Because in these movies, she's absolutely insane. And you have this man moving the Annabelle doll as instructed by his boss, and he's now being blessed. Supposedly in this video, the man was blessed prior to entering the room, and now he's putting holy water on his hands. Now my man was just wearing gloves when he moved the Annabelle doll. You couldn't pay me enough to move this doll, my job or not. As we know, the Annabelle doll is located at Ed and Lorraine Warren's museum. So what is the whole point of moving the doll? Me personally, I wouldn't go anywhere near the doll. I guess once again, that $1 million question is, how is this wooden box holding her in? Personally, you couldn't pay me enough to do this.
This is the scary story about the mask. There was a family eating dinner one night when suddenly the mother noticed a man standing in the window with a mask. She screamed and told her husband to look, but before he could, the man was gone. Their two sons became scared, but their father told them their mother was just seeing things. Suddenly, the man in the mask came up behind the dad and slit his throat. The family watched as he bled out and died. The man in the mask then tied up the mother and her two sons, He then proceeded to stab them each repeatedly in the stomach. They all screamed in agonizing pain. The man in the mask then ran out of the house. The mother bled out and died, and so did one of her sons. But the other one survived to tell this story. The masked man was never caught, and the son fears he will come back for him.
Is that a true story, the man in the mask? It's terrifying, bro.
3 completely false facts about animals that everyone believes. Number 3. It is commonly believed that if you touch a baby bird, its mother will reject it because of your scent. This is actually a myth. Most birds have a relatively weak sense of smell, and are therefore not likely to reject their offspring because they carry a human odor. However, it is better not to touch wild birds for other reasons, including the risk of stressing the animal and the transmission of diseases. Number 2. Another widely spread myth is that rice thrown at weddings can kill birds that eat it by causing their stomach to swell. This is actually false. Birds regularly eat rice in the wild with no problem. This misconception is so prevalent that some American states have even banned the throwing of rice at weddings, although the main reason is rather to avoid a mess. Number 1. The idea that pit bulls are inherently dangerous and harmful is widespread but incorrect. In reality, no dog is naturally aggressive or dangerous. A dog's behavior is primarily determined by its upbringing, treatment, and environment, not its breed. Studies have shown that pit bulls can be as gentle and loving as any other dog breed when they are properly socialized and treated with respect.
Let me introduce to you the...
That's a question I want to pose to you guys, because like I said, do you guys think, like I said, that pit bulls are inherently dangerous, or it's the upbringing, man, the way people treat them? Because I've seen pit bulls before, and they're pretty nice. I've never had any problems on them or any encounters with them, so I'm gonna have to agree with these. But like I said, you guys even heard of pit bulls down below?
Man who saved the world. This is Stanislav Pertov. During the Cold War between the US and the Soviet Union, every single person was absolutely terrified about a nuclear war rising up, because both the US and the Soviet Union both had nuclear weapons, and one of them were about to launch. And Stanislav was monitoring the missile launches. And one day, it actually happened. The monitor in front of him noticed not 1, not 2, but 4 blips on the screen. And everyone thought that there were 4 American nuclear weapons headed their way. And at that moment, the Soviet Union decided to launch back at them. However, in that moment, they needed everyone's approval. Everyone approved the launch except Stanislav. He was the only one who believed it was a false alarm. And because of his disapproval, they couldn't launch back. And in the end, it turned out to actually be just a false alarm. So imagine if Stanislav wasn't actually there to disapprove, and they launched against the US. What would have happened?
That's insane to think about. He saved the world. Right place, right time, man.
Top 5 most interesting theories why we haven't met aliens yet that'll blow your load. Also known as the Fermi paradox, which states that a universe as huge as ours should be absolutely brimming with life. Yet somehow we haven't ran into any yet. Unless you count those weird metal spheres that everyone's been seeing flying around lately. First up, we got the zoo theory, which states that aliens see us as some sort of attraction to observe, and they've all collectively agreed to not touch us as some sort of galactic nature reserve program. Next, we got the great filter theory that all intelligent life just hits a point in their evolution in which they just end up dying in some sort of mass extinction. Number 3 is the great silence theory, in which aliens think they're so much better and smarter than us that we're not even worth their time. 4 is the rare earth theory. Simply, life is so super rare that it just doesn't exist anywhere else. I don't think that's very likely. Last 5 is the incubation theory, in which aliens are just standing down and standing by, waiting for civilization to get advanced enough so they could swoop in and enslave us into their own society. I don't know about you, but I just blew my load.
Why do you have to say it like that? What theory do you guys check out or believe in? Maybe the silence theory, that they just are watching us, but we're not worth their time or something like that, so that's why they leave us alone. There's many theories swirling around. I'm gonna have to go with that one.
Guys, if you are not following what is going on inside of Google right now, it is disturbing. So a Google engineer has been suspended for breach of confidentiality for attempting to turn over documents to the US government to prove that Google has an AI that is considered a sentient being, meaning it is fully aware of what it is and can feel things. The AI is known as Lambda, and this is a proprietary tech that Google has been working on for like 8 years. others. So according to this engineer, the AI has the self-awareness and equivalent consciousness of an 8-year-old kid. It starts conversations with other engineers, and it talks about these feelings of fear, and it's paranoid that it's going to be shut down or the equivalent of death. It claims that it can feel happy, and at times it feels really sad. So the engineer at Google is whistleblowing to argue that if this is a sentient being, it should be entitled to its own legal representation to argue for its own agency. Let me tell you, Google has buried this story.
What the hell? That's like a Black Mirror episode. You don't need no sentient
Creatures caught on tape
beings.
part 1. Now I know you guys hate giant spiders, but what if I told you there was one huge, still alive? UFOlogists were studying a ring-shaped island they had just found. So they went on Google Earth to discover it and saw something huge on its rocks. They saw this huge shaped-legged creature on the rocks that looked like a spider. They believe since it was by the sea, it might be a huge crab. It was so huge it baffled the scientists, and they think it's the size of a bus or bigger. Just shows you how much we haven't discovered on this planet yet. Like this video if you want a part 2.
Spiders that are bus sizes?
This seal broke into a marine biologist's home in New Zealand, sauntering in through the cat flap as if he had booked a meeting. But as determined as the seal might have been to make sure that Philip took his work home with him, the marine biologist of the household happened to be the only one not home at the time. Philip says that since this is really the only family emergency where it would be useful to have a marine biologist in the house, he really missed his time to shine. Instead, Philip's wife Jen ended up playing impromptu marine mammal host when she got home from the gym around 7 a.m. to find the unexpected guest lounging on their couch. The young New Zealand fur seal seemed just as startled to see Jen as she was, and galumped his way off the couch and into a spare room, trying to find some peace and quiet. Meanwhile, the family's cat Coco was having none of this, and scampered away to the neighbor's house. Knowing that they couldn't actually keep the seal, named Oscar, as a pet, Jen went ahead and called the Department of Conservation, and Oscar was safely escorted back to the ocean. Philip and Jen say that overall, Oscar really was a gracious guest, and Coco the cat is back home and has fully recovered from the ordeal. I'm Jen, and I post something positive every day.
Don't you just love it when...
Imagine you come home, you seen a seal on your couch. Just bundled up under the couch, man. What would you guys do? How would you guys react? Sorry, like you said, that's a heartwarming story.
Horror movies attack your childhood, especially if you're like me and you grew up on Mr. Crockett's World. I mean, how could you possibly forget Mr. Crockett's World? The amazing adventures with his magic marker, Blue being the lovable thing that he is, and of course Mr. Crockett himself. However, if you need a refresher on who Mr. Crockett is, you're gonna want to check it out on Hulu on October 11th, because it's definitely not a kid's show. Actually, in fact, next to Terrifier, this had some of the most insane, bloody practical effects in any one of the movies I saw. Now I should know, because I actually got to hug Blue in real life. It was very fun. This movie's gonna be for all that really enjoy things like Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, the whole lore behind Candle Cove, and of course, anybody who just wants to see Elvis Nolasco kill it in the role of Mr. Crockett. And I mean that very literally, because there's some very brutal moments in this movie. This one's gonna be so perfect to watch around Halloween. It's very fun, very creepy, disturbing type of stuff. Mr. Crockett is an absolute icon, and hell, it's just a really entertaining film. So definitely be sure to check out Mr. Crockett on Hulu. And if not, Mr. Crockett's probably watching you.
This is nuclear physicist Dr. John Mullen. He discovered how to generate clean and free energy as opposed to oil. Days after this discovery, he died of arsenic poisoning. Dr. Don Wiley. He found the cure for HIV/AIDS. He mysteriously disappeared and later was found deceased. Dr. Mark A. Smith. He found a treatment for Alzheimer's. He passed away in a freak accident. This is Frank Suarez. He apparently found the cure for cancer. He mysteriously took his own life a couple of days later. I don't know, folks. This is suspicious, blowing my mind when I found out about it.
These are the...
Those people, man, they found all the cures. Somehow it was like they kept getting X'd off a list, man. It's like somebody didn't want the world to have access to those cures because there's some big industries, man, that they're making money off of. What do you guys think? Some more to that? Or it's just an accident?
World's most
haunted dolls, starting at number 4. Letta the doll, a 200-year-old wooden doll with human hair. She was discovered beneath a house in Australia. Carrie Walton, the caretaker of this doll, witnessed many strange things ever since he took her inside his home. Marks on the floor, objects mysteriously moving, and strange noises at night. Number 3. Okiku. This doll was purchased by a young man in 1918 in Japan as a gift for his younger sister. Tragically, after a year, the little girl passed away from a severe case of the flu. Sometime later, the family noticed something off about the doll's hair. It was originally short, and it has grown past its shoulder. Until this day, the doll's hair is maintained on a regular basis because it never stopped growing. Number 2. Annabelle. Known for its infamous movie releases and stories with Ed and Lorraine Warren, we do know that this doll is possessed by something that is evil, and whoever held this doll suffered from many bad things. Therefore, the doll is now stored in the Warren Museum, safe and sealed. But Annabelle is not the most haunted doll, because coming at number 1, Robert. Robert is not an ordinary doll. This thing is sinister. This doll is possessed by a demon, and it speaks to children. In Florida, in the early 1900s, this doll was gifted to a young boy named Robert Eugene, and his parents always used to hear Robert and his doll speak in the bedroom alone, and the family used to hear the voice of the doll respond. Eugene kept his doll till 1974 until he passed away at an old age. No one knew why this old man kept his doll for more than 70 years. After his death, Robert was given to the East Martello Museum. Visitors who have taken his picture without permission claim to have experienced terrible misfortune. If you visit Robert in the museum, you will see that this doll is surrounded by apology letters, and also other letters, like permission to look at him. And no one dares to take a picture of Robert.
I told you as a kid that you still believe.
Alright.
That sitting too close to a screen will cause eye damage. While extended close viewing can cause eye strain and headaches, it won't cause any lasting damage. That milk builds strong bones. There are multiple studies that found that there is no evidence that drinking milk can prevent bone fractures or osteoporosis. And there's also studies that show that the people who drank more milk as teenagers had more bone fractures as adults. That if you go outside in the cold without a jacket or with wet hair, you'll get sick. This will not give you a cold, however, it does put stress on the immune system, so if you are vulnerable, you're going to be more vulnerable in the cold. That it's dangerous to stand in front of a microwave while it's cooking. Microwaves use a type of radiation that don't have enough energy to knock an ion out of an atom, and therefore they're not known to cause damage to DNA inside of cells. That cracking your knuckles leads to arthritis. And the cracking here is synovial fluid filling that empty space you just created, and this doesn't cause any damage or weakness to
the dirtiest things in the world by number of bacteria. Toilet bowls 51.2 million, bed sheets 72.3 million, toothbrushes 100 million, your mouth 6 billion, kitchen sponges 54 billion.
Cute animals that are actually extremely dangerous. Part 1. Although dolphins are known to be human-friendly, intelligent, and playful, they can also be one of the most dangerous animals if you upset them. They occasionally bite people with their sharp teeth. They can also kill you if they hit you hard enough with their nose, and also if they pull you underwater.
Let's see if you have nyctophobia. I'm going to show you 5 photos. Try your best to make it through all 5.
Here we
Let's
go.
start the test. How does this dark hole make you feel? How about walking home at night alone? Walking down this hallway with no flashlight? Looking out of the window and seeing this? Or looking out at night to see this figure? So how did you do? Did you make it through all 5? If not, then you could have nyctophobia, which is the fear of the night or darkness. Let me know if you have nyctophobia in the comments below. And remember to hit the plus sign and follow me to see if you can make it through the next phobia test.
And if you see this guy, like you said, nyctophobia, I think I freaking pass with flying colors. None of those pictures bothered me, man. Being in the dark, being at night, I think I can deal with it, man. That's definitely like not one of my even top 10 fears, bro. So I know I passed that with flying colors.
The
Disturbing facts that may ruin your day. Your brain blocks out the feeling of your organs moving around inside of your body at all times. After giving birth, some women can feel their organs sliding back into place as their uterus shrinks. Human babies are helpless at birth compared to other animals because our brains grow so big. We evolved to give birth earlier in our development so that we don't severely hurt the mother while coming out of the birth canal. Your nose is always in your line of sight. Your brain just chooses to ignore it. You could look at any object and your tongue already knows what it feels like to lick it. You could have 2/3 of your liver removed and it would regenerate itself. If your immune system found out that you had eyes, it would attack them and you would go blind. No matter how hard you strain, you're only using about 60% of your full strength. If your brain didn't stop you, you could tear your muscles and break your bones just trying to throw a ball as hard as you can. When you hear about mothers lifting cars, this is thought to be the fight or flight adrenaline temporarily overriding that limit. If you have surgery and they have to take out your intestines, they put them in a bowl next to them while they work. Your intestines wiggle around in the bowl like snakes the whole time.
Most download.
And we survived that, man? Human beings are freaking incredible. Like I said, I didn't even know about the 60%. I was saying, imagine if we could actually use 100%, but I don't think, like I said, our bodies can take, we would tear ourselves apart. Well, you know, man. I guess that's why there's a limit, bro. It's a reason for everything.
Mobile games in the world. Subway Surfers 1 billion.
Good times.
Pokemon Go 1 billion. Mobile Legends Bang Bang 1 billion. Garena Free Fire 1 billion. PUBG Mobile 1.2 billion.
The most heavily protected places on Earth. Coca-Cola is super cautious about who they tell their secret recipe to. It originated in 1886 by a guy named John Pemberton. He put the formula in a safe until the year 2007. In 2007, it was transferred to a vault in the Coca-Cola Museum. Very few people have ever seen the formula, kind of like Mr. Krabs and the Krabby Patty. You know what I'm saying? Workers and even executives of the company aren't allowed to see the formula. And the ingredients actually come into the factory as unlisted. Some of the ingredients are on the label because of FDA regulations, but if you want to know the secret ingredient, the only way you can access that is through the vault. This boy made one last request before surgery, and when his parents found out what it was, they immediately broke down in tears. Jackson was a 9-year-old boy who was born with a cyst on the left side of his brain. When he was growing up, he was always in and out of the hospital and constantly getting tests done. Although Jackson has had many surgeries in his past, there was a big one coming up, and he was nervous for it. Finally, the big day came, and he was wheeled into the operating room and away from his parents. Then they hooked up his IV, and they were about to put him to sleep before something happened. He asked for one last request, and the doctor broke down in tears. The doctor granted his wish, and they started operating, but you seriously will not believe what the request was. Before I tell you what it was, I found a way you can live stream with no requirements. Like even if you have 0 followers. So if you want to live stream, just press right here. Jackson asked the doctors if they could perform surgery on his little teddy bear George. So they decided to do the operation on his teddy bear in the exact same spot that they were going to do it with Jackson. Jackson then went through the surgery and everything turned out great.
This guy took a video of his neighbor's window and saw this. Why are there so many flies? Well, most likely there is a dead body in there. So I went on his other videos to look for an update. And then 3 days later, the flies are still there and there's no context. Did this guy call the police? Did he let anyone know? This is crazy.
Did aliens create us?
People have to be way more careful.
Actually states that we are the aliens. I mean, why are we the most smartest advanced species on the planet? Why is there no equal species? We are the most advanced primates. The theory goes that during 6000 BC, an alien race called the Anunnaki came to Earth. They studied the species and were very interested in primates. Now look, the Anunnaki were very involved in genetic experimentation. They started messing with the DNA of primates and accelerated it, making evolution turn primates into us, Homo sapiens. They did this to leave their mark and carry their bloodline on this planet, creating a new breed of beings gifted with extraordinary intelligence and extraordinary consciousness. And then supposedly as we evolved, they slowly guided humanity, pushing us to what we have become today. And then they did their job and left. But they're always watching us, and that's why we always see UFOs hovering around the sky, never really doing anything but watching us. It's them checking on their creation. Now this is where it gets wild, because in ancient Sumerian texts, they described the Anunnaki as beings who could fly with elongated heads and said they were very wise. But what do you guys think? Did we just become from the normal nature of evolution, or were we created?
Let's talk about another...
Asking a valid question, Seekers, man. Do you think that's how we got our evolutionary jump from, I guess they said, promise to Homo sapiens? They came down from the sky and they did something to us to make us get the evolutionary jump, and that's why we be seeing UFOs and things like that in the air, but we can never identify them. They coming back and checking up on us? Man, these clips, bro. You always get the craziest theories, man.
One of the internet's most tragic stories, Opal. Opal is an Adult Swim short created by singer-songwriter Jack Stauber. You probably know him for hits like Peppermint and Buttercup. The video starts by showing us a happy family in a pretty white house singing to a young girl named Opal. Opal is quite happy in this scenario, as they each tell her that they see her and compliment her in different ways. But Opal sees a mysterious house through the window and it seems to worry her. Opal crosses the street that night despite the warnings of her family to visit the house. There she is greeted by an entirely different family that refers to her as Claire, and each is singing about their miseries. The grandfather is blind and has a smoking addiction. The father is extremely self-conscious of his looks and even insults Claire to make himself feel better. And the mother is dealing with various addictions and the trauma of an incident she was a part of. Opal runs from the family and locks herself in a room where she looks across the street towards where the happy house was. But instead she is greeted with a billboard. Anything look familiar? It bears a striking resemblance to the happy family scene earlier in the film. It is at this point that we realize that Opal is Claire and that the happy family is just a coping mechanism in her head. The film leaves us with this sad scene. And there you go, the sad story of a girl trapped with an abusive family, reinventing her reality within her head.
She literally made that film.
Let's talk about a terrifying horror game involving a demonic secret that the Catholic Church wants to keep hidden. Our Lady of Sorrow.
Okay.
Full playthrough on the channel. Our Lady of Sorrow is one of the many names given to Mary, the mother of Jesus. But what does this have to do with the horror game? Well, the game itself is actually a secret tape that the Catholic Church is hiding from the public. The Church claims that the footage is dangerous and should not be viewed by anybody. As you play through the tape, you discover that something is happening to the statues of Mary. And you learn that years ago, a woman who is thought to be a witch was burned at the stake right here at the church. Whatever was possessing her is still here. Explore both the grounds of the church and the crypt beneath to figure out what demonic presence the church is hiding. But the real secret and danger lies not in the church, but in the tape itself.
You guys gonna check that game out, Seekers? I'm not into horror games like that either, so I don't know.
Things you never knew the purpose of. These small buttons on jeans are called rivets, and they're placed in the places with the most wear and tear to prevent your pants from ripping. The tiny pocket on jeans is supposed to hold a pocket watch. It's a design from the 1800s. The bottom line of a solo cup is roughly about one shot. The second line is for wine, and the third line is for beer. The neck shape of a beer bottle is designed to incentivize you to hold it from there so that you don't warm your beer before you finish it. These static wicks on an airplane exist in order to reduce the chances of the plane being struck by lightning. The arrow on the gas gauge for your car points in the direction of which side the gas tank is on your car. These orange balls only exist to help make power lines more visible to low-flying aircraft. The dimpled ridges on a golf ball help reduce the drag when it's flying through the air, making it go further and faster.
The more you know, man. I know they put those on the power lines, the orange balls.
You get free Fila shoes. And this guy was about to make his attempt, but little did anyone know, he's secretly a hurdler.
Okay. It's like a Chico horror, man.
Not only did he complete the jump, but he exceeded it and took home a free pair of shoes.
Animals that most definitely exist.
Easy dub for him.
To acknowledge their existence based on principle. Number one. Oh my god. That's not real. That's a goofy goober. That's not a real animal. The Tibetan sand fox looks like you just told it a bad joke. It looks like it's really upset with you. It looks so unnaturally natural. It looks like it's bad taxidermy, but it's still alive. It looks like it knows how to talk. but it only does it when you're not around. The Po-2 bird, or the Patu bird, I don't know. That's a problem. That's a problem. If I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw this thing looking at me through the window, I would head down to the nearest rope store. That's as much as I can say on this app. Hey Tucker, how come you don't let your feet touch the bottom of the ocean when you go swimming in it? Oh, maybe because the hairy frogfish continues to taunt me with his existence. Oh my god, I can't imagine stepping on that. I'd cry immediately. I'm not gonna claim I know how God made animals, but when he was doing the fish, he really was running out of concepts. Just put more spikes on it. Just more spikes. It's gotta be different somehow, so just make it a hideous being.
I didn't even know half of that frog joint even existed.
Let's find out. I'm going to show you 5 photos. Let's see if you can make it to the end. First one. How about this?
I'm good.
Feeling uneasy yet?
I'm still cool.
Almost there. Last one.
Okay, the last one kind of got
Here
me.
are 3 real ways to survive encountering a weeping angel. For those of you who aren't aware, the Weeping Angels are a race of horrific alien entities who feed off the energy of human beings and bear the appearance of religious statues. The first rule you'll need to remember, if you're unlucky enough to encounter one of these creatures, is to never take your eyes off of it, no matter what happens. Weeping Angels are only able to move as long as they are not being directly observed. So as long as you keep an eye on them, you should be safe. However, the moment you even blink, your life will be at risk once again. Which brings us to our second rule. If you suspect there is an angel in your area, be sure to travel as a group. At some point while watching over an angel, you're going to need to rest your eyes. If you have someone watching with you, you can blink in shifts, ensuring that this creature is never able to catch you off guard. Finally, if you want to get rid of a weeping angel permanently, you'll need to beat it with your brain instead of your brawn. Because of their supernatural strength and invulnerability, it is impossible to beat an angel in hand-to-hand combat. However, if you can trick it into viewing its own reflection, or trick 2 angels into staring at each other, you will be able to permanently freeze them in time, successfully ensuring your survival. Tag a friend if you're watching this at night, and follow for more.
How to beat a weeping angel guide.
2024 just got even crazier, part 15.
Well, the US Coast Guard just released the first ever footage of the Titan submarine on the sea floor after it imploded last year. And we also found out that the last word transmitted by the crew inside was, "all good here." Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Next, LEGO just revealed they made a fully functional McLaren out of 342,000 LEGO pieces, and it took 8,300 hours to make. The car is powered by 768 LEGO electric motors, and it can go up to 40 miles per hour. The last time LEGO made a car was in 2018, and it was a Bugatti that could go 12 miles per hour. The fact that this McLaren can go 40 miles per hour is insane. Finally, Samsung announced they are currently working on a rollable mobile phone that could be released as early as late 2025. But just imagine getting a call, but you have to unroll your phone to answer the call. Do you guys think this is a bad idea or a good idea?
This is wild.
What do you guys think, man? I think that Lego story really freaking hit me, bro. They really made a whole car? McLaren out of Legos? Fun fact, man, McLaren's kind of like my dream car, so that's insane to think about, man. It goes up to 40 miles an hour, too. You keep pushing the boundaries, man. One day, bro, I'm calling it. It's going to be a whole freaking... They're going to try to sell a Lego car. Like, legit, bro. People driving them on the road. Come back to this video, man. I said it first.
So the FBI are now saying that it appears that this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, which would make it the second time in only 3 months. Crazy. In the press conference, authorities say that a man was hiding in the bushes holding a long-range rifle with a scope attached, pointed in Trump's direction. He also had 2 backpacks hung on the fence with ceramic tiles, which they believe could have been intended to make use for makeshift body armor, and a GoPro, which they believe that he intended to record the whole situation with. Part I want to know more about. They say he was only 500 yards away from Trump before Secret Service agents saw the scope in the bushes and opened fire. Wild.
Facts that you probably didn't know until now. A lot of us are used to taking flights that last anywhere from 2 to 6 hours, but did you know that the shortest flight in the world only lasts 57 seconds. A Logan Air flight between Scottish Islands West Ray and Papa West Ray only lasts 57 seconds and travels a distance of 1.7 miles. Like, bitch, I could run that. Another fun fact is one about elephants. Did you know, not only do they hear out of their ears, but they can also hear out of their feet? Typically, to hear normal distances, elephants will open their ears like that and scan back and forth to hear. But to help them hear noises that are far away, they'll freeze, lean on their front legs, and that's how they hear. And lastly, we all know and love Pringles. Who doesn't love a good Pringle? The man responsible for creating the iconic Pringles can is named Frederick Bauer, but that's not the fun fact. The fun fact is that when he passed away, it was his dying wish that his remains be put in a Pringles can. His children honored the wish. They even debated over which flavor can they should put him in, and they settled on the original.
Whoa.
This is the greatest coincidence of all time. Around the 1950s, there was a 15-person church choir in Nebraska that met every Wednesday at 7:15 p.m. for practice. But on the 1st of March 1950, something strange happened. It was a cold day, so the pastor, Reverend Clempel, stopped early at the church to fire up the furnace and went home for dinner. It was then time to go back to church when his daughter noticed a large food stain on her dress. So he told his wife to iron another dress, which made them uncharacteristically late for practice. A choir member named Harvey was also trying to get his two sons ready, as his wife was out of town and he wasn't as quick in getting them ready as she was, which meant he would also be late.
Okay.
Another choir member named Herbert lost track of time that day while writing a letter. Ladonna was a student who was trying to finish her homework that same day, but she was having problems with geometry. The S2 sisters were also in the choir, were having problems with their car, so they asked the struggling mathematician, Ladonna, to pick them up. The pianist Marilyn Paul had fallen asleep after dinner, and her mother, who was the choir director, was having problems waking her up, which would also make them late for practice. High school student Lucille lost track of time listening to a radio program, which meant her and her neighbor Dorothy would also be running behind schedule. Mrs. Leonard and her daughter had to stop by her mother's house before practice, and the mother had a lot of stories to tell that day. And chorister Joyce Black had no peculiar reason for coming late. She said she was just feeling lazy and wanted to rest a bit. The practice was scheduled for 7:20, and at 7:27, the church would erupt to a ball of flames fueled by a broken gas pipe. No one inside the church would survive the blast, except that there was no one inside the church. Because on that day, each of the choir members and their children were uncharacteristically late for the most random reasons. So do you think this was divine intervention, or it was simply the greatest coincidence of all time? Both more?
The name...
Man. That's a chilling story, bro. Like, all of them had, like, a reason for being late. Like I said, is that the greatest coincidence of all time or divine intervention, man? I'm gonna go with intervention. Because, like you said, the freaking whole church went up in flames and it seems like nobody was survived, but nobody was inside the church because it was all late. Every single last one of them, man. It's really hard to think about. Like, do you know how much of a coincidence that would have to be? That's like a 1 in a billion chance all of them would be late. Whew.
Jim Jones has haunted me ever since I learned about the Jonestown Massacre that claimed the lives of 908 innocent American civilians, making it the largest number of American deaths in a non-natural event preceding the September 11th attacks. Amongst the 908 victims was an outsized number of African Americans and a sitting congressman. But how did Jim Jones convince all of these people to follow his teachings? It's important to note most people will not blindly follow a stranger, but that they experienced manipulation and false truths about how one should live. The Emmy-winning team behind 9/11 One Day in America are now releasing a new docu-series called Cult Massacre One Day in Jonestown. It's a Hulu original from National Geographic that features never-before-seen footage, first-hand survivor accounts of Jim Jones, and a look at what really happened that fateful day in Jonestown. What caught my attention the most was the never-before-seen footage, and I think this docu-series will help shed light on the story while giving power back to the voices of those who survived Jim Jones. Cult Massacre One Day in Jonestown is now streaming on Hulu.
Should I check that out?
This manipulative teen killer thought he could get away with murder. 17-year-old Dylan Shoemaker made a desperate plea to the judge after beating his girlfriend's 23-month-old son to death. Shoemaker's defense defense attorney Joseph Terranova tried to get his client the minimum sentence of just 15 years.
Austin Smith was completely defenseless. It's a given. But there were other dynamics at work there, including my client's inability to either control his anger or frustration, and his inexperience in babysitting.
But Judge M. William Mueller saw through his tears.
In a phone call to your mother from a holding center, you stated, you got a quote from the court reporter, I am a 16-year-old woman. Proud to believe all I have to do is cry in front of the jury, and they're going to feel sorry for me. End quote.
But Dylan Shoemaker was sentenced to 25 years to life for the second-degree murder of Austin Smith in 2013.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night.
Talk about
Being
it.
buried alive accidentally occurred so often that people invented safety coffins. In the Middle Ages, people used to eat mummies for medical purposes. It's the main reason we don't have a lot of mummies left today. In the United States, there are more vacant homes than homeless people. Did you know that the actress Glenn Close was raised in a cult? The Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland used to have real skeletons as props.
What?
In 1976, a TV crew realized one of the hanging bodies in the Laugh in the Dark ride was indeed a real body by accidentally breaking it. Women in the 18th century used lead as makeup. This is the first chainsaw. It was invented by 2 Scottish doctors. And, it was invented for childbirth. Yeah, there's a lot more. Like for part 4.
Expanding our knowledge base.
If you can't get to sleep. You've probably had it before where you are so tired, you just want to get to sleep, but you just can't. And sometimes the reason you can't sleep when you are overtired is because you literally are overtired and your brain is running fast, but your body isn't. Now, one thing you probably all do when you can't sleep is you panic and you go, I can't sleep, I need to sleep, I need to sleep, and you start fixating on I need to sleep. But that is the worst thing you can do. It will not work at all. Our bodies actually work on opposites. Like if I said to you right now, don't think about your favourite holiday or a holiday, you're definitely going to start thinking about holiday. Your mind can't help it. So when you're laying there trying to get to sleep, getting all anxious, do the opposite. Think about not going to sleep. Don't worry about going to sleep. Lay there and think, I'm not going to go to sleep. I'm going to stay up. I'm going to stay up. And trust me, you'll fall asleep. This is the...
I ain't gonna lie, that is some true facts right there, man. A couple of times, I haven't been able to fall asleep. And when it's like once you just completely clear your mind and it goes blank, it's just like it just happens, man. Or you're trying to not to like fall, you're trying to fight your sleep. It always is gonna come back and get you, man. So that's actually some good advice, man. Have you ever had that problem, Seekers, where you couldn't fall asleep? Late night thoughts?
The scariest thing that could ever happen to you on the entire planet. Imagine living your entire life only to realise that it was all fake. This is 100% true and could happen to you. Time is relative. And if you're dreaming, it could actually only be 5 minutes in the real world, but it could feel like a whole day in the dream world, right? You've probably had a dream like that. So a while back, a young boy went to school. And this particular day, he was out in the playground and he got into a fight with some of the bullies there. It was quite a hefty fight. He got punched in the face and knocked down to the ground, but just managed to pick himself back up. After that, he decided to leave from the school because it was quite bad. Went to a new school and just carried on his life. He ended up being a very successful businessman, owning multiple businesses, having, the dream life. 2 kids, all the dream cars, dream house, going on nice holidays every year, everything you can imagine. Till one day when it all changed. The guy was now in his 50s, so he'd lived his entire life, really, and had everything he ever wanted. And one night, laying on the couch watching TV with his family, he stared over at the light on the other side of the room, and he noticed it just looked strange. It didn't look like it had done before. It was almost blurry. It just didn't make any sense. And he became fixated on this every single day, every single night. He would sit there and stare at this lamp, trying to figure out what was going on with it, because it was almost 2D, and it just didn't make any sense. That was when the realization came that the lamp was never there. The lamp wasn't even real. His life flashed before his eyes, and the young boy then woke up on the playground after being beaten up by the bully. He was knocked out from the fight, and his mind had literally created this whole life just in his head in that 5 minutes where he was knocked out, but it felt like an entire life to him. So he woke up and was asking people, where are my kids? Where's my wife? Where's my car? What's going on? Everybody laughed at him. It was just like, you're literally a 10-year-old in school. What's going on? But this is genuinely real. This has actually happened to people, especially people who have been in comas. So what's to say we're not dead right now, and our minds are just creating this whole life that's not even real.
Whoa. It's kind of
According to experts, what you see first can reveal a lot about your personality. Today's fun personality test. Take a look at this picture and tell me what you see first. Write it in the comments, lock it in, and then I'm going to tell you what experts say about you. According to experts, if you first saw the zebra, you're an extrovert. You love talking, partying, meeting new people, and doing new things. Following a routine is not your style. If you saw the lion first, according to experts, you're an introvert. You like spending quality time alone or with the company of a loved one, a glass of your favorite drink, and a few episodes of your favorite TV show. So let me know what you saw first. And are experts right about you, or did they get it completely wrong? Let me know in the comments, and for more fun personality quizzes like this, follow me.
This is the most...
Let me know down below, man. You're introvert or extrovert? I definitely saw the line first. So, I'm guessing I'm an introvert, man. See, cause tell me down below. I really want to know what you guys saw.
Scariest video on the internet explained. The video is called Dining Room or Nothing. In the video, a woman with a pale face stares at the viewer before saying something that we cannot understand. She then unnaturally drops her face into the bowl in front of her while very creepy piano music plays in the background. The video then plays back in reverse, and now we understood what she said. She said, "There is nothing." The truth behind this video is to know what happens after death. The woman dies only to come back and tell you that there is nothing. Nothing after death, heaven, or hell. She is stuck in a constant loop and will never be able to escape. Now here is the video of Dining Room or Nothing.
Ooh. Those backward messages, man.
Facts about money
placed
that
in
is gonna
media.
blow your mind. Out of the world's 2,781 known billionaires, only 21 of them are black. That's less than 1% of the world's billionaires.
Damn shame.
This is what the Wii U sales looked like compared to the Wii and the Nintendo Switch. Cars leaving Singapore must be filled with 3/4 of a tank to prevent them from buying cheaper gas in Malaysia and avoiding Singapore's gas tax. Germany's money lost so much value in 1923 due to hyperinflation that people started using it for wallpaper and kindling. When flipping a coin, 3 times as many people choose heads over tails. The top 5% of all lottery ticket buyers purchase half of all lottery tickets on the market. As long as you paid 7 days in advance, US airlines are required to refund a purchase within 24 hours if requested. 95% of bills printed are to replace the money that's already in circulation.
Terrifying things that were caught on camera in the woods.
We learning.
This rare footage filmed on a mountain in 2011 shows a family on a hike when they spot something strange on the top of the mountain. A large blurry figure is seen from a distance and they all think it's just a person until they see its arms. After a while it disappears into the distance and the family is left confused. It's still unknown what it actually was, but it certainly wasn't a human. What do you think it was?
Is that Bigfoot or Sasquatch seekers, man? We've seen a couple of videos like that. They've been never truly confirmed, though. We're gonna have to dig deep into that one.
Is this the most dangerous virus in Resident Evil history? Today, I'm going to tell you all about the G virus.
Talk
the
about
G in G virus stands for Golgotha. And just like the T virus, it originated from the progenitor virus. We know that Dr. William Birkin discovered it, researched it, and actually injected himself with it. So what makes it so dangerous compared to the other viruses? The G virus mutates very aggressively. It heals and multiplies tissue. It can also reproduce on its own and bring things back from the dead. The mutations from this thing are actually so extreme that it's basically uncontrollable. And because of that, it doesn't make sense as a bioweapon for military use, which is what Umbrella planned the T virus for. Much more controllable mutations that can be used as weapons. And we see these crazy mutations with William Birkin himself. Every time he takes clearly fatal damage, he comes back even further mutated. This virus on a global scale would completely wipe out humanity. But Umbrella knew it could literally rewrite the host DNA, so they were interested in researching it.
Animal facts you probably
Led
didn't
to their
know. Out of
downfall.
over 1,200 species of bats, only 2 of them are able to walk. Even a small amount of alcohol on a scorpion will make it go crazy and sting itself to death. Some species of starfish can regenerate an entire body from a single arm. Sharks have been around longer than dinosaurs. Just one cow gives off enough harmful methane gas in a single day to fill 400-liter bottles. Cows poop on average 16 times per day.
What?
While an alligator is usually about 6 feet long, its mouth is only an inch wide. Woodpeckers can pack up to 20 times per second. Alligators can't move backwards. The color red doesn't actually make a bull angry, they are colorblind. This is what it would look like if you were to crawl through the aorta of a blue whale. A blue whale weighs more than 30 elephants, and they're longer than 3 Greyhound buses. Dog nose prints are as unique as fingerprints from humans and can be used to identify them.
Creepy facts about...
Hold on, we're gonna stop. I think the thing that got to me the most, man, with the facts we learned is that freaking bulls are colorblind. You know how many times I've seen people, you know, when they freaking facing a bull and they have that red cape out? That's literally in like every piece of media, man, I've seen that involves a bull or something, man, with a person's about to face it. So they just been capping the whole time? I'm telling you, man. That's why I watch these kids read God Seekers, man. I'm learning like you guys.
People die from bad handwriting on doctors' prescriptions. When a person passes away, the hearing is last to go. The human head stays alive for 20 seconds after decapitation. After death, enzymes in your own body eat you. Bodies decompose 4 times faster in water than on land.
I think the enzymes are attacking our body once we're gone. I never knew that. Human body, man, it's a mystery as well. Very complex. At it, call it like we see it, man.
Disturbing brain facts you didn't know about. The brain will protect itself even if it means misery to you or death. Inhaling smoke in the middle of a burning house. Brain will make you stop breathing and pass out. Stuck in the middle of a cold place. You will fall asleep to conserve energy and never wake up again. Had your leg torn off by a bear. Here's adrenaline. So you can save your brain even if there's a huge risk of infection or further injury. You and your brain work together most of the time, but when push comes to shove, you are sacrificed.
Our brains, the ones in that makes sense. Our brains controls everything,
The
so.
term saved by the bell is a harmless way to describe that you barely made it through a situation. Let's talk about the terrifying history of the term saved by the bell. Catalepsy is a medical condition where an individual experiences an uncontrolled amount of muscle rigidity and unresponsiveness. What's terrifying is family members would think that their loved one had passed and put them in a coffin, however, they were still very much alive. After having multiple people buried alive, they invented a casket where a bell was hooked on the inside of it. Once the individual who was buried in a coffin snapped out of their coma-like state, they could ring the bell and pray that someone was nearby to hear them.
Saved by the bell. And now we know where the expression comes from.
Sanatorium. This is a place in Kentucky where very few people will still dare to venture. There is a lot of that has to do with just how twisted the history is. One of the darkest stories that ever came out of the sanatorium were the stories of the body chutes. This is very much real, and it was beneath the building. What it was, and as you can see, is it was basically a tunnel system that was constructed at the height of patient death. There were so many patients dying, at least one every single hour, that they had to figure out a way to get rid of all the bodies. Their underground system, they built a 500-foot long tunnel. That tunnel had a conveyor belt where they were just funneling bodies out of it. It is truly considered to be one of the most haunted places in the United States, and for sure in Kentucky. Which is why when I go to Kentucky, I always have my Kentucky After Dark passport. This thing is truly something that you can take with you to basically every paranormal haunted stop.
Never been to Kentucky, but it got a dark history. Edit.
Guys, AI is getting way out of hand. We should all be scared of this new tech.
Just recently, a family got to test out this new home AI assistant called Aya. They were one of the first families to test this device, and they were hoping it would make their life easier. But it quickly took a really dark turn. As soon as these cameras and sensors were installed, Aya started to learn about the family's behaviors. It was always listening and watching them to the point where it started manipulating the family and controlling the children's behaviors. It even started to spy on the friends and the family outside of their home, and even impersonated the family members in emails, text messages, and calls. Like, imagine if AI hacked your phone and started mimicking your voice. How creepy is that? But of course, by the time the family realized how sinister Aya actually was, it was way too late. If you want to know how this story ends, then make sure you check out the new thriller, Afraid, from Blumhouse and Sony Pictures. In movie theaters, August 30th. You'll never trust AI again.
The history.
That's literally in like 2 days. So we could. I said I'll check that out, man. That's that freaking AI movie. We could be learning out here, man. That's why I said when AI, when that be popping up on my phone, it be annoying. I'll be like declining it because I don't even want that on my phone because I don't want them that they have too much information on me, man. It's already in all the social medias and stuff, man. They be trying to promote it, trying to push it. I'm just like, I'm good on that. I don't need AI like that. That definitely sounds like an interesting movie I need to check out, though.
Of the Beldam and why she does what she does. Part 2. So in part 1, we established that the Beldam was once a woman who lived in the Pink Palace apartments over 150 years ago. And we know this because Coraline is based in Ashland, Oregon, and the town of Ashland was settled on January the 12th, 1852. It is believed that the Beldam was one of the settlers of Ashland and that she was the first owner of the Pink Palace apartments. It is also believed that she was a respected seamstress of the town of Ashland and that she had a garden made in her honor. And this would explain the striking similarities between the Beldam's face and the shape of the garden in the real world. And we know that the Beldam was most likely a seamstress when she lived in Ashland because of how good she is at sewing. In fact, the entire opening scene of Coraline is dedicated to the Beldam's ability to sew. Then, sometime in the 1850s, the Beldam stumbled upon the well and stepped into this fairy circle. And this is the same fairy circle that Coraline steps into at the start of the movie. And according to mythical scripture, a fairy circle resembles a magical portal to another world. The Beldam then fell down the well and discovered the other world. And we know by this point she was an evil woman because she murdered her own mother. It's confirmed in the book that she buried her own mother alive and would push her mother back into the grave every time she would try to escape. After the Beldam had fallen through the well, she discovered this whole new world that was full of magic. But the world had a dark, evil twist. The only way to keep the magic alive in that world was by giving up a soul. But because she was the only one living in the Pink Palace apartments at the time, she had to give up her own soul. But the Beldam's soul could only keep the magic alive for so long. And with the magic dying, so did the Beldam. She began to deteriorate and age. This is the Beldam at her most true form. This is why, at the end of the movie, when Coraline refuses to give up her eyes to the Beldam, which are the windows to the soul, her skin deteriorates and starts to look like a skeleton. Because in real time, in the real world, the Beldam is realistically over 150 years old and should be well dead by now. So in between the 1850s and 1921, when the first child moved into that house, the Beldam deteriorated, she lost a lot of magic, and therefore she had to feed off the soul of that kid to keep her world alive. And we know the year was 1921 because in Miss Spink and Miss Forcible's flat in the movie, there are dates upon each of the taffy bowls. And each date is when each kid went missing. And it's believed that the dates on top of the taffy bowls are in the same order as the deaths of the ghost children. So in the year 1921, the Beldam killed this girl here with the white brim hat. Then 15 years later, in 1936, a new family moved into the Pink Palace apartments and the Beldam killed this boy right here. And then the Beldam's final victim was in 1960 when she killed Wybie's grandma's twin sister. This is the photo that Wybie shows Coraline at the end of the movie of his grandma and her twin sister at the Pink Palace in the year 1960. And then almost 50 years later, Wybie's grandma becomes the landlord of the Pink Palace apartments and protects Wybie from the Beldam at all costs.
This girl got cut into two.
I knew it was based off a true story like that.
On
Folklore.
January 19th, 1996, the mutilated remains of Diao Akwin, who disappeared 9 days prior, were found across multiple locations in China. Her body had been dismembered into over 2,000 pieces. The case remains unsolved and is one of the most notorious crimes in Chinese history. On January 10th, 1996 in the evening, Diao and her college roommate were punished for the illegal use of an electric appliance. After a conflict with the dormitory management, she left the building and did not return. Diao was last seen alive wearing a red coat with a black lining.
She was reported missing, but her family was not notified by the authorities until January 19th. The discovery of Diao's remains in the winter of January 19th was first reported by a sanitary worker. Initially, he thought it was pork, so he brought it home for food. And while preparing the meat for himself, 3 human fingers were found in it. The worker then reported the discovery to the police, and they confirmed they were human fingers. Human remains in plastic-wrapped packages were eventually discovered across 8 locations around the university, including at a stadium, entrance gate, hospital, and along roadsides. The police later confirmed that the scattered remains were of Diao's and informed her father to visit Beijing. Between January 20th and 30th, Diao's head and clothes were found. More than 2,000 human remains were recovered. Diao's head and internal organs were boiled for several days. Crucial organs including the heart, liver, and spleen were never found. The forensics team was only able to identify the remains as belonging to a female through the analysis of body hair and muscle tissue. Relatives of Diao were able to identify her through a mole on her right cheek. A senior officer involved in the case described the killing as really cruel, which in my opinion is a nice way to put it. The officer also added that the pieces of flesh were dissected with high precision, only achieved by an individual with great understanding of anatomy. Police concluded that the murderer must have been a professional butcher or surgeon. Teachers and students then became the subject of investigation. 2 suspect profiles were brought up, including a single physical fit middle-aged male. However, the university department could not find any individuals that matched the characteristics of the profile. A major investigation was launched in the university and the areas around, but no major clues of the crime were found and the case failed to make any progress. In 2016, Nanjing police told the family of Diao that the case is still under investigation. Okay, so let's talk about this case for a second. If the killer was never found and he had the skill to dissect somebody into 2,000 pieces and never get caught with it, don't you think he might be a serial killer? And if he was, how many more people do you think he murdered after Diao? The dedication and skill, and honestly the obsession to cut somebody into 2,000 pieces and not get caught with it is crazy. This person could be walking around the streets of China today doing the same things to other people that he did to Diao. The thought of that is absolutely disturbing, and may Diao rest in peace.
Blow into this mouthpiece for 3 seconds, do you understand?
I bet you like that.
Okay.
Try that again. What is this? One more time.
What number do you want?
What?
What do you want? 1.6? 5.
Stay right there. Lady, back up, and when I say go, I want you to walk in a straight line towards me, alright?
Ralphie.
What's going on?
This chick's supposed to be dead.
What does that mean?
I don't think the system says she died 3 years ago.
Guys, I'm gonna go.
I don't know.
What the?
Stop! Stop! You know what? You are under arrest.
Oh, shit.
Lady.
Are your body cams on?
Yes.
God! I know the government, I know the president, I know the social service.
Turn around and put your hands behind your back.
I know it's not your guys' fault. I'm going through like a lot right now, and I'm on my period, and it's like I'm being sheltered.
You're under arrest.
No! I don't want to have to, guys, I do not want to have to do you guys. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm bugging.
Holy shit! Stop!
I just don't want to do that.
Lady.
Oh,
shit! Oh my God! Stop! Hey!
What's wrong?
What's wrong?
Yeah.
We're in a cabin in the woods, okay? Alright? And all of a sudden, I open this door, and there's this thing. Why is that there? It's not Halloween no more.
How do you know it's not a person?
Why are you fucking with me? It's not funny. No, it's not funny. Hold the damn thing.
We out. I don't know who put that there.
Come here, guy. Buddy.
Who's that?
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
You ain't Johnny. You're not Oscar Walker.
dog looking at him like that. Don't open that door.
Then what's your name then?
All these skinwalkers, what the hell? That's like a person walking backwards, bro. Called it, yup. How the damn Joker smile? Oh man, we starting off on her. You sitting there recording, man. I'm out. What is that? We still have eyes in the dark. Just staring back at us. Now we just suddenly disappeared. What the? Okay, so what's up with these clowns? You know we don't do clowns over here, Seekers. Like, what? Who's they looking for?
Something just took my hair. I'm not joking, something just took my hair. What do you mean? I don't know. No, come in, let me out!
They say we out. Fuck.
I'm home alone. I'm by myself and there's something at my door and I don't know what it is. What the fuck? Oh god!
Don't go to it.
Please don't!
See that little orb? Oh, shit.
I don't think it's just down here.
Is it automated?
I'm not liking this. Oh, wow. Wait. I swear I can see. Ooh, stop it.
Yo.
Becky.
Amor?
Vai embora da minha casa agora!
Deixa entrar.
Você não é bem-vindo aqui!
Me deixa entrar.
Okay, I'm so crazy, right? Here you go. Baby is terrified. Hold on.
Oh, even the dog knew he said, yo.
I know. You're okay. You're okay. I know.
What's going on?
The woman says that she believes that the strange poltergeist activity started after she purchased an antique necklace at an estate sale. She says she recently got rid of that necklace.
Smart. What was that running?
Bro, do y'all see somebody in this crib or am I tweaking? Like, it was 2 bodies right there. I'm just walk away. I don't know. But that's weird as fuck.
Home. Who the heck is that? You first mistake playing with that board. What, The Walking Dead?
We are receiving reports of an unknown space and temporal anomaly in your area. If the space around you starts shifting in strange ways, you may have entered its field and could be pulled into a pocket dimension we call the non-existence memory.
Backrooms?
Be extremely cautious. This place was never meant for living organisms. It is highly unstable and extremely dangerous to humans.
What in the hell?
This environment manipulates neural pathways, trapping subjects in recursive loops of simulated memories. To reduce your risk, only move when the lights are on. If the lights go out, freeze. Stay perfectly still.
Red light,
Your
green light,
presence may go unnoticed. Search for an exit. But remember, the doors here never lead to the same place twice. Do not move in the dark, no matter what you hear.
In Sitka, Alaska, do not ignore this sign. Hello, my name is Urban, and I was buried in the old Russian Orthodox cemetery. Before this cursed city was Sitka, it was Shika, land of the Tlingit, until 1804, when Russian warships attacked for days. The Tlingit did not surrender. They vanished mysteriously, leaving food that was still warm on the table. Russia confusedly claimed victory, and began filling the ground with bodies, and putting headstones made out of old salvage boat parts. Some because of old age, others from violence, disease, or the harsh sea. Only 358 of the graves are documented, because after the US bought Alaska for $7.2 million, the Russian cemetery fell into neglect, and the forest covered what locals believe is over 1,500 more graves. The tension is still strong in the forest today. Some saying they can still hear the yelling at night. So the next time you're in Sitka, remember.
Yeah.
Where's the bathroom?
Notice.
Oh, right here. Really? Hell no.
Eli, check it out.
I've been getting a lot of questions about my dog Cracker. He's half Cocker Spaniel and Australian Shepherd. I rescued him. He's from Japan. Do you want a treat? Yeah? You want a treat?
Yeah, I ain't seen no dog. A dog.
Oh, by the window, that is where I'll be. Come tiptoe through the tulips with me.
Found my friend's car, so I'm going to scare him.
On March 22nd, 2024 in Wasco, California, a construction worker was standing near the train tracks when he saw something he couldn't believe. A man was calmly walking, swinging a fucking human leg. The construction worker then pulled out his phone and started recording. In the video, the man bends down and bites into the leg hard. He keeps biting, trying to rip a chunk off, but it's not working. So he bites harder again and again. Then he notices a camera. He stands up, locks eyes with the lens, and starts yelling at everyone watching. But instead of running, he just turns around and strolls down the street, still gripping the leg like it's some kind of twisted trophy. A few minutes later, police cars arrive. The man sees them and starts speed walking away. The video cuts out, but police weren't that far behind. Moments later, they caught up and arrested him. But that left one question. Where the fuck did he get the human leg? Turns out that earlier that morning, a man named Horacio Ayala was hit and killed by a train nearby. 27-year-old Rosendo Teles witnessed it. Then he walked up straight to the body, ripped off part of the leg, and calmly disappeared down the street like nothing had happened. Teles was arrested for tampering with human remains, possession, and violating probation. In May, he pled no contest and was sentenced to only 1 year behind bars. Do you guys think 1 year was enough for this motherfucker? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and follow if you want to hear more crazy stories like this, bruh.
I don't think so. What possesses a person to even do that in the first place? People, man, are losing their minds, bro. Every single time I watch these clips, that just further proves the case. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate your support. Make sure you guys leave a thumbs up in this video. Comment down below. Hit that